You're watching Times XP. I am Dhruti, and here are the biggest stories that are making headlines across the globe today. So let's start with it. Secret FBI visit to China. In an extraordinary twist, FBI Director Mr. Kash Patel secretly visited China right after Trump and Xi summit in South Korea. No press, no cameras, no public acknowledgement, just a midnight jet landing in Beijing. In the meantime, Washington didn't even list the trip on Patel's office calendar. Fishy? Maybe. Mission behind closed doors. Even the US Embassy officials in China, they were reportedly unaware of the visit until Patel had already returned. Now, this secrecy has fueled speculations that it was part of a covert intelligence exchange. In the meantime, analysts say that it is one of the boldest moves by an FBI chief in decades. The fentanyl crisis deal. Well, the trip followed a new US-China consensus on tackling the fentanyl problem. Over 70,000 Americans die yearly from this opioid, most tracked back to Chinese chemical procedures here. In the meantime, here Patel's job is to make China enforce its promises. Beijing's promise here. China has agreed to update its controlled substance list and issue export licenses for all the fentanyl-linked shipments. Well, Beijing claims that it wants to be seen as a responsible on global drug policy, but the US doubts that this will last beyond the election season. Law enforcement cooperation here. Patel reportedly met Chinese security chiefs just to discuss the intelligence sharing on smuggling networks. It's the first real law enforcement dialogue between the two countries since before COVID. You know what? This is a remarkable moment of trust, but maybe a calculated risk as well. Unprecedented exchange here. Leaked reports suggest that FBI and China's Public Security Bureau may start limited data transfers. In fact, information on fentanyl sources, crypto payments, and cross-border mules. Basically a move unseen since the 1970s US-China deterrent. Trump's shadow deal here. Sources that are close to the White House say that Trump personally authorized Patel's visit. It is part of a quiet back channel to test whether China will cooperate on drugs before the trade talks resume. Critics call it diplomacy in the shadows. Damage control or strategy shift here? Well, was this trip to fix Trump's chaotic summit optics or to signal something bigger? Here, some insiders believe that a temporary US-China truce may be forming around fentanyl. Others warn it's Beijing's trap to gain leverage. Israeli parliament erupts. In Jerusalem, Netanyahu's victory speech on Gaza collapsed into chaos. Lawmakers booed and stormed out, accusing him of lying about war not yet won. You know what? Even his allies, they sat in silence. Calls for accountability. Opposition MPs, they demanded a national inquiry into October 7th Hamas attacks. They accused Netanyahu of using the tragedy to rebuild his political image. While the tensions inside the parliament mirrors the anger in the streets. A nation divided. Outside the parliament, thousands protested with banners reading "Fake Victory." Families of the hostages accused Netanyahu of abandoning their loved ones. And in the meantime, Israel's political unity has shattered beyond repair. Colombia explodes at the US. In Bogota, their president, Gustavo Petro, lashed out at Washington, calling US leaders a clan of pedophiles. Well, the comment came after Trump slashed the US aid to Colombia's anti-narcotics operation. Now, it triggered the biggest diplomatic clash in years. A new war of words. Well, Petro accused the US of military imperialism in Latin America. He accused that if American jets enter the Colombian airspace, we will shoot down the Golden Eagle. A chilling phrase now trending across South America. Latin America pushes back. From Mexico to Brazil, leaders are backing Petro's defiance. A new Latin resistance is forming, and that too against the US dominance in trade, defense, and politics. In the meantime, analysts call it a Cold War 2.0 in the tropics. Turkey versus Israel, diplomatic collapse here. Ankara's top prosecutor issued a genocide warrant, and that too against senior Israeli leaders. In the meantime, Erdogan's government says that Israeli officials must be held accountable for Gaza's destruction. Israel responded with fury and froze all the diplomatic contact for now. Israel's furious response: Jerusalem called Turkey's move a political circus designed for propaganda. An Israeli spokesperson even warned that tell Erdogan to get out of Gaza before we make him. You know what? This is the verbal warfare which is escalating into full policy breakout. The bridge is gone. After years of uneasy cooperation, the Israel-Turkey relationship is all dead. Trade delegation recalled, and in the meantime, military exercises cancelled. A geopolitical bridge between Europe and the Middle East just burned down. Iran's cyber revenge. Well, Tehran claims that its Revolutionary Guards have captured a Mossad-linked hacker ring. The group allegedly infiltrated defense databases using the crypto-based payments. In the meantime, Iran called it a proof of Zionist infiltration in cyberspace. Digital war escalates. Well, this comes days after the Houthis uncovered a US-Israel spy cell in Yemen. In the meantime, experts believe that a full-scale Middle Eastern cyber war has just begun, and targets could include ports, oil networks, and defense grids. Cyber battlefield widens. Iran, Lebanon, and Yemen, they are all now coordinating online cyber attacks. In the meantime, Western intelligence called it the shadow war of 2025. Every digital strike now risks a psychological retaliation or maybe a physical one as well. Israel reinstates death penalty. For the first time since 1962, Israel has brought back the death penalty. It applies only to Palestinians that are convicted of killing Israelis. And in the meantime, the critics say that it is revenge and not justice. Ben-Gvir's controversial celebration here. Far-right minister Itamar Ben-Gvir marked the whole decision by handing out baklava in the parliament. He called it a victory for Jewish blood. The gesture triggered outrage even among the Israeli moderates as well. Global outrage here. Human rights groups across Europe condemned the decision. The UN warned it violates the international law, but here, Netanyahu's coalition brushed off all the criticism. Iran denies assassination plot. Well, Tehran dismisses US reports of plotting to kill Israel's ambassador in Mexico. Officials called it Hollywood friction made for American TV, but Washington insists that the intelligence was credible. Washington stands firm. US intelligence claimed that Iran's covert network in Latin America is expanding. Safe houses in Venezuela, Cuba, and even Mexico have reportedly been discovered. Here, Tehran's reach is no longer regional, it is now global. Turkey's Gaza gamble. In a stunning twist, Ankara plans to send 2,000 elite soldiers to Gaza. The move is said to be part of a secret US-brokered ceasefire framework. In the meantime, Israel immediately rejected it. Israel rejects intervention. Israel's cabinet said no Turkish foot on the ground. Not now, not ever. In the meantime, Jerusalem believes that Turkish forces could secretly aid Hamas. While the standoff is already derailing the US peace effort. United States balancing act here. Washington is caught between the two furious allies. Israel and Turkey both are critical for American influence in the Middle East, but both are now threatening to walk away. Regional aftershock. From Tehran to Bogota, from Beijing to Jerusalem. Fault lines are deepening. Every capital is adjusting to the world where US power feels uncertain. Allies are turning rivals. Rivals are forming alliances. A world at the edge. Behind all these headlines lies a deeper truth. The post-American world has arrived. Superpowers are testing new boundaries without asking permissions, and the old global order is collapsing in real time. And with that, that's a wrap-up of our 30 news bulletins from around the globe. From Gaza to Venezuela, from Iran to the United States. The world is changing, and so is geopolitics. And TimesXP is here to give you all the latest updates for all the news that matters the most. I am Dhriti Athri, keeping you informed.